Good day. How are we today? And thank you for coming to the second session of our class of the unit CHCCCS038, which is facilitate the empowerment of people receiving the support in our care. Today we are going to be stepping forward by talking about what a person-centered, self-directed model of support is. We are going to be focusing on giving the person, the assistant, to actually do or to actually carry out what they intend or what their goals specify. So, as a care worker, that's where we stopped the other time. We talk about our role as a care worker. So in developing or in supporting someone to provide this person-centered approach, we need to support them under this model to focus on removing any forms of barrier that will limit them in any form of participation. We should also give them autonomy to decide how they want to be part of the society and offer them the appropriate opportunity that we afford them or that everyone else is actually entitled to. So we develop the adjustment approach with regards to the facility empowerment by the following. As a care worker and a professional across various industries, we have a varying approach to facilitate empowerment, allowing the person to under our care to have more control over their own life. And of course, we do this by giving them advice that will be able for them to actually create their own approach and facilitate the empowerment. It must also be based on our own responsibility as well as the client's needs. And lastly, it will be a reflection of we as support workers' personal value and attitude. You can see that in our last discussion or in the first class, we talk about our value and our attitude. So the way and manner we deal or we relate with this will show how far or how well our clients will be supported. So care worker must also respect the client's individuality. Never assume that they would behave or respond or react similarly to anyone else. This is an individual and they need to be treated that way. Don't think everybody is the same or think that because they come from this particular because they have this particular gender or because they have this particular upbringing, they have to behave the same way as others. So the following are some of the general tips for successful communication when we meet ourselves in this kind of situation. Use a normal tone of voice and do not raise your voice unless asked to. There are situations whereby you are supporting someone that is having like hearing aids now. They already have their hearing aids on. You don't need to shout on them again. Talk politely. Just talk in a normal tone that everyone is talking. Unless, of course, if they ask you to please, can you raise up your voice? Then you can loud it a bit. Speak directly to the person rather than the person with them. There are different occasions whereby you take your client or you're supporting your client in the community and they want to buy something. Instead of them actually making the order, you are making the order in their respect. And instead of them actually paying for the service that They have already, they are just taken. You are the one that is doing that. We should desist from doing this. We should give them that opportunity to communicate. We should give them the opportunity to engage and actually pay for their services. So these are some of the ways that we empower them. Ask the person what will help with their communication. There are some people that has a lot of challenges with communication. Think out of the box. Do you need the description card to be able to communicate well with them? Do you need some sign language that you need to learn to be able to really be on the same page with them? What is it that really works that you believe when we bring to the table, your client will benefit more? So do not pretend to understand everything. Let the person know that you are having difficulties and trying to actually understand them. Ask questions if you are unsure. Always try to be flexible towards or reward rather than repeat anything that is not understood. Only refer to the person's disability if necessary and relevant. Don't overuse someone's disability because they are having challenges. You only make reference to this if there is a reason, probably medical condition or things like that. The standard for working with people receiving support include, we have 6 national standards that apply to disability service providers. The first one is the right. That is, everyone has right to be respected under the charter. Participation and inclusion. All your clients need to be given the opportunity to actually participate in whatever activities or whatever community they feel like. So you should not seclude them in any way. So they need this level of inclusion. Individual outcomes. Of course, everyone has their own personal goal. So you should work with them in achieving those goals, not achieving a generic goal for everyone. Everyone has to have their own specific goal. Feedback and complaint are a way of really understanding and even doing better when it comes to the level of services you're rendering. So if you're having positive or negative feedback, make the best use of them by following it through, and give your client as well as their family opportunity to make necessary complaint, as well as a network by which this can be done needs to be fully specified and spelled out. Service to access must be general for everyone, and service management must be at top notch. We need to ensure that any services you are rendering for everybody in your care, they have to be the best, and the clients needs to be fully supported and recognized when you are actually supporting them. When developing your approach, you must do the following. That is, approach to address the impact of facility empowerment. 1. Make a list of all essential factors to consider. One of them might include your own personal attitude and value. Don't forget, in our first lecture, we made a lot information about this, so we made a lot of discussion around this as well. Your personal attitude and value is a very big thing, and you should try not to actually use it as a yardstick on others. Your job role and responsibility, always work within your scope. If something is out of your scope, please seek for assistance. Understand various legal and ethical considerations when working with people, or when working with people who are receiving your support. Try as much as possible to understand what are those legal requirements, or what are those legal considerations that can affect or impact your client, those that affect or impact you. Of course, there is a lot of law out there, but trying to understand them one after the other will always give us a headway towards supporting our client. So another one is list down scenarios of ways of providing detailed explanation of how you will use your approach. Whatever you believe will work well, show it. Don't just tell your client, show them how it works by providing some kind of scenario. This will give them it will make them an ownership of what you are bringing to the table. Let them know how it affects them, and let them tell you how they believe it will work well for them. Keep a written and accessible copy of this approach. Example, like if you're working with someone with mental health now, there's something they call safeguarding plan. Safeguarding plan is a plan that is used when someone is actually undergoing a stress or they are undergoing some traumatic situation. They will let you know that this is what works well for me if I'm under this condition. So that particular document needs to be written and needs to be documented appropriately and stored whenever there is need for that. So if you're working on supporting someone in the community, there's possibility of going around with such a document. Sometimes with disability they call it behavior support plan. So there will be times when your approach appears to be inadequate or inappropriate. Try to review it and seek further guidance. In some cases, a client may provide feedback that can make you feel aware of your shortcoming. Take it as a very good and positive response from your client. And even if you feel that they don't know what they are saying, try to review it again so that you can actually understand where they are coming from. And if there is need for you to actually educate them on why you decide to take some approaches or why you decide to take that particular steps you take, and you can make them to reason or see the benefit of you doing that. Another thing is you must adapt and adjust your approach to address these shortcomings, which will allow your approach to be more effective. By doing this, listen to the person that is listening to your client. Evaluate your capability. Do I have the skill? Do I have the knowledge to do what I'm doing? Do I need to talk to my supervisor? Do I need to talk to some professionals in the field? What is the gap that I've identified? As you adopt your approach, always remember that your goal is to empower your clients, not yourself. And your goal is to give the clients the choice to actually make the right decision by providing necessary information. There will be a lot of situations, but in any way, we are not expected to limit the supports in any way. If we are limiting their support, if we are limiting any form of support we are providing to them, that is what they call restrictive practice. And this is a no-no when it comes to the level of care we are providing. What do we understand by restrictive practice? Restrictive practice are intervention that limits the right and freedom of a person. And there is a lot of we have at least 5 types of this practice. 1, chemical restraint. This practice is an intervention involving the use of medication or chemical substance to actually limit someone's level of participation. Maybe they will say, oh, we need to give them some medication because of their aggressive behavior. That is a chemical restraint. Environmental restraint is the practice or involvement or intervention that involve restricting a person's access to all parts of their environment. If you're working in an aged care now and you put like a stopping table in front of an elderly resident, you are actually restraining them with that table. You don't want them to get out of that of the chair. So that is a level of environmental restraint. Mechanical restraint. This practice or intervention involves the use of devices that restrict the movement of a person. However, these exclude the use of devices for therapeutic or non-behavioral purpose. Mechanical constraint can be maybe the use of lap belt. When someone is sitting on a wheelchair and they put a lap belt to hold them there, that is, they don't want them to come out of that chair. That is an example of mechanical constraint. Physical restraint. This involves using physical force to restrain someone, including sobbing or part of your body in that person's part. For example, now if you want to stand up and go and I decide to block you, or I decide to stay in front of you, not allowing you to move, that is physical restraint. Seclusion. This involves solitary confinement of a person either to their room or to a particular physical space for some hours, day or night, and this is voluntary, without any voluntary exit. So if this thing happen, there must be appropriate documentation, and there must be appropriate signage before you can actually provide, or before you can do any of this level of restraint. Any question? If there is no question, this is where we are going to stop this class today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.